All right, so placing my hands on my heart, taking that deep breath of love and gratitude. So grateful and thankful for this time to come together to be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful to be able to set aside anything that came before this moment and to also set aside anything that is to come after this study group session, and just trusting that we will be able to pick it up again if it is ours to do. We're grateful for our willingness to remember the truth of our being, which is unconditional love, perfect wholeness, pure innocence, beauty, wisdom, clarity, the all good. We are interested in claiming it all and sharing it with all, knowing that we are one. We are grateful for our mighty companions, our earthly and heavenly helpers. We ask that they join us now, blessing everyone here and all who may listen later, allowing us to be open-hearted, open-minded, and to guide us through our conversation today, to have the most healing, the most beneficial conversation for each one here and anyone who may listen later on. We are grateful and thankful for our willingness to accept the kingdom of heaven and to claim it for ourselves right here and right now. And we're grateful to be able to share the benefits of all that we receive and all that we are with Mother Earth and all her beings, because we are one. In grace and divine gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen.
Amen. Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. So we are finishing up chapter 9, the plan of forgiveness, section 8, grandeur versus grandiosity. And I'm going to read, come on, paragraph 5, and then a couple other little bits. In paragraph 5, he says, the ego will make every effort to recover and mobilize its energies against your release. It will tell you that you are insane and argue that grandeur cannot be a real part of you because of the littleness in which it believes. But your grandeur is not delusional because you did not make it. You have made grandiosity and are afraid of it because it is a form of attack. But your grandeur is of God, who created it out of his love. From your grandeur, you can only bless, because your grandeur is your abundance. By blessing, you hold it in your mind, protecting it from illusions and keeping yourself in the mind of God. And what came into my mind when I read that this morning was this weekend, a friend of mine came in from out of town, and she came so that she could attend the drum circle workshop that I was hosting. And then the next day, there was a local tavern that was having what they called a reasonable hour retro dance party. And since we're both dancers, and I have not been like out like that since months before Rudy passed, I went. I was really like up into the last minute thinking I'm not going to go. And a bunch of other friends of hers were going to be there as well. She came and picked me up, and we went there, and there was a person there that I haven't seen in a while on purpose. Let's just say that. And I feel like this is something that is becoming so clear, and one of the blessings of this grief journey is it's like you are healing codependency in your life once and for all. Poof, gone, not going to be there anymore. And so I mean, I know that many people have this codependent tendency, and I learned it when I was a kid. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I was just trying to please my parents so that I could be loved and safe. And having a mom that had anxiety and depression, a lot of times I felt like the caregiver in the room. And so I kind of took that role on and ran with it. And I really do feel like, I mean, I can still take good care of the people that I love, but the people that are also in codependent relationships, but the other role of the codependency, I'm just not interested in having a relationship with them anymore in that way. And so, couple of things that popped up are, here we go. Something that one of my other teachers said in a video last week, about how as we let go of the unhealthy patterns that we have adopted, that we're becoming more of ourselves, and it can cause discomfort in those who signed up for the old versions of us, and so this person, she showed up, and I had a sense that she would probably be there, and I had full intention of just being friendly and kind and cordial and not, upsetting the cart. But she was kind of getting insistent about her part of the role. And I realized that her part of the role is just another side of me that wants to receive the love and the care, and depends on another person to get value and stuff like that. So I'm not blaming her for doing that she's just playing the role that she signed up for. And that I just feel like she was totally just showing me how far I have healed this codependency, and that I no longer have a desire to people please. But I can still be kind and still not cross over that line into codependency. And so I think once she realized that I wasn't going there, she got a little annoyed and she left. And I could read all kinds of things into that, but what I know is if I can be an example of how I could step out of that pattern for myself, perhaps she will see that she can step out of the pattern as well. So that's the biggest takeaway from it. Because for, the codependent me would have been like, oh my gosh, let me make it up to you and let me go after her. And like, there was really, I mean, the thought was there, and I'm like, no, that's not happening, So another thing that, a couple other things that kind of go with that, was right in the middle of 6, where he says, littleness and grandeur cannot coexist. And I really do feel like that my littleness, that at least in that particular pattern, bye-bye, out of here. And then in 7, where he says, truth and littleness are denials of each other, and grandeur is truth. So I really do feel like in that one pattern, at least, that I have like stepped out of that cloak or shawl or coat or whatever. And, donated it to Goodwill or something. So I'm not wearing that anymore. And when I come across people that I used to be engaged in that behavior, it can feel a little bumpy. Let's just say that. So anyways, that's what I got from this reading. At least that's one thing that I got from this reading. Does anybody else want to share what they got or something from what I shared or something that's going on in their own life?
Well, I appreciate your sharing. I feel similarly. Codependency is not, um, that's not my issue. I think I've shared it here before. So like worthiness,
Yeah.
My littleness shows up in, the need to be doing and achieving all the time, but in particular ways. Like I for many, many years, I saw value in a particular kind of achievement, in like jobs and academics and things like that. So achievements that I might have had at home or in relationships or other things where I would belittle those, as not as meaningful or as important, as those other forms of achievement for me. So that's where my littleness shows up. So everything you said about yourself with, the codependency, um, I can relate to with, how littleness shows up in my life. And I shared in here last week too that I'm really committed to like finishing that pattern. Like that onion's been being peeled for many, many years of my life. And I feel like I'm getting real close to that, kind of that inner part of the onion. And I'm pretty committed to feel like that is done at the end of this year. I don't really wish to carry that into 2026. And so so I can relate to everything you said and the passages you read, but some of the passages that were really, so as I read this chapter, that's what I would ask myself: where is my littleness? How does my littleness show up?
Yeah.
And that place is, as I said, in my achievements. And I do believe that God is really pushing me hard on this because, I've been like having to wait, like job stuff hasn't opened up, and I know that I won't know what I'm supposed to do because I think I'm supposed to be doing this. I think I'm supposed to be doing this healing work. And then when my mind heals, just like the Course says, all healing happens at the level of the mind, then I will magnetize to myself the opportunities that are right for me, that don't feed that negative, that littleness, that don't feed my, grandiosity, but really feed my grandeur, because that is the mindset with which I will be moving in the world. Just like you, Linda, I'm sure you will have new relationships that open in your life, that don't represent or don't have codependent, tendencies to them. As you heal that, you will no longer magnetize that to yourself. And so I trust that whatever that is for me, as I heal this, the outlets for my ability to earn money and to work and to use my gifts in the marketplace will show up for me, however that's supposed to look. And so the passages that were really, one of the passages that was really, powerful for me is, because I think it's easy for us to accept our littleness, but then the Course, Jesus really calls us to task in 11. Um, Later in 11 is where I focused, but I'll read all of 11. You cannot replace the kingdom, and you cannot replace yourself. God, who knows your value, would not have it so, and so it is not so. Your value is in God's mind and therefore not in you alone. So this idea of, it can feel really, it's very uncomfortable for me, I guess, because I deal with littleness in that way of really minimizing myself and my values. Like it's very uncomfortable. I just had a conversation with a friend, a very close friend from a very long time last week. And he was saying, Dana, I don't share. He's like, I only share with you a very little, like, I feel like he's very complimentary of me. And he was basically telling me, I only share you share a fraction of the thoughts that go through my head about you, because I sense that you, just like he's married, he's like, just like his wife, he's like, are very uncomfortable when I do that. And so he's like, so even though I feel like he's super complimentary, he's telling me, like, I don't even say most of what comes to my head about you, because I know it makes you uncomfortable. And so that idea of, like, yeah, I'm feeling that value. It is uncomfortable, but yeah. So it says, to accept yourself as he created you cannot be arrogant, because it is the denial of arrogance. To accept this is the powerful part for me. To accept your littleness is arrogant,
Mm-hmm.
because it means that you believe that your evaluation of yourself is truer than God's. And, like, logically, I get that. Like, I get what he's saying, even though, like, in my feelingness, it feels like it's just really uncomfortable for me. But if truth is indivisible, then your evaluation of yourself must be God's. And so just that idea of, if we believe in that little, and for me to recognize that that sense of littleness is all from the ego. That is this, it's ego driven. Um, and then sometimes I try to put myself in the place of, like, a parent, like, what I like, the way that I see my children, and I see all their potential and all the goodness that they are, and how heartbreaking that would be for me if they just walked around the world thinking they were so not that, they were so little, and and watched them settle, for me, especially in relationships. Like, if I watched my daughter settle for some relationship that was like somebody not treating her well, like, it would break my heart. It would be like one of the hardest things for me. And so sometimes that's helpful for me to imagine what it is like for God, like, God who created us and sees us as this amazing thing, this amazing beings, as part of himself, right? Um but yet we walk around thinking we're so little, and believing that, and making choices out of that littleness. So anyway, and then the beginning of 12 I thought was also really powerful. You did not establish your value, and it needs no defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's wow. Nothing can attack it or prevail over it. It does not vary, it merely is. And so, again, as someone who, my littleness is so tied to my worth for so long, so tied to what I do, it's very hard for me. Oh, I'm getting more comfortable just realizing that if I do nothing today, if I just, like, I'm still good. I'm still okay. Or if this whole year I don't have a big accomplishment, or I haven't finished a big project that I'm working on, or whatever that I've always got going, like, it's not a year wasted. You haven't wasted your time, Dana. You aren't, so that I just exist. And just like I think about that with my kids. My kids don't have to do anything. I just love them. I just think they're fabulous just in who they are. And I just want to be with them. Like, I just want to spend time with them. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to be a certain way. And so for me, that yeah, that's how that shows up for me. And sometimes those are the challenges for me. So I have found last week's reading and this week's reading to be really powerful. And I probably will try to go back and put some passages on stickies just to remind myself, like, this is the truth of, like, who you are. And as I am, like, trying to cross the goal line on this healing journey this year, of just, like, I really want to be done with it. And I've come a long way. I've come, like, a really long way. I do not the number and a level of attack thoughts that I have in a day about myself is significantly reduced than it used to be. And the fact that you can even see, I think Jennifer's blog was about that today, maybe even just the idea for when our perspective shifts to see the thing we couldn't see before, because I couldn't see it before. I couldn't see that that was what I was doing to myself or thinking about myself. So I see it now very clearly, and I'm pretty committed to healing that. So I've enjoyed these last few chapters, as they are really speak to that idea of the littleness. And of course, littleness shows up in everyone's life in different ways. But anyway, so thanks.
Yeah. Yay for the healing. And that first sentence in 12, like, you did not establish your value and it needs no defense, period. Like, that alone, I feel like if we just took in that one sentence alone, it would be so much easier in this lifetime. But I feel like, when we are in these patterns of not believing our grandeur and hanging on to our ego littleness, we put people in our paths that will complement that. Like, oh, you're doing such a good job because you're achieving so much. In my case, it would be, oh, you're so, I love you so much because you do so much for me. Those kinds of people, which obviously, again, they're just a reflection of the other, like, two sides of the same coin. And so the longer we hang on to those patterns that make us feel like we are not valued as God values us, the longer we will hang on to that belief. So you're letting go of that belief. You will have less of that.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Well, and the irony is too, like, I think God's like, I'm not going to allow you, because I'm in a field that, like, I work in a field that's what they do. Like, and so it's
Right.
like, God's like, I'm not going to allow you to have what you think you want, because it's just going to reinforce this belief, and you'll think that you're okay, but you're walking around with this, like, massively false belief that's tearing down. Like, it's a really big edge in your life, and you don't even see it, and you would just continue on in that if, like, I can see what's happening and why these things have not happened and why I have to do this before. And it may or may not ever work in the field where I was. It may be something totally different, which I've let that go. I've released my attachment to how that looks for me.
Yeah.
It's just some outlet for all these skills and gifts that I, have and have developed. That God has opened doors for that. But then these other doors have closed because I think this thing has needed to heal, along with other things that needed to happen in my life and other healing that needed to happen in my family that I was part of. And so it's like, I think of the development of trust all the time, like that section that talks about like, to have the shift you need to have, your outer circumstances often need to change. And it doesn't need to be experienced as painful, but it often is.
Right.
And so it's like this idea of, like, I don't know that I could have done this level of healing had I just been going on in a field that reinforces all of that, like, to the nth degree. Like, you are your achievements in what the field that I'm in. Like, that is, like, everybody's, it's like, where do you work and what's your title? Like, that's how you start every conversation in my field. What institution are you connected to and what is your title there? So anyway, yes, I see, like, what's happening there. Like, I see that,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for what I will magnetize to myself, like how my outer world will reflect the inner healing that I'm doing in this area of my life, whatever that looks like. So
Yeah. And how it's so, like, it reminds me of that. I can't remember exactly what it's like, but it's something about, when you're cooking a lobster maybe, or frog or something, you put it in the pot and then you just turn the heat on, and it's like, it just relaxes, like it's sitting in a jacuzzi or something. Before you know it, it's so relaxed that it's like falling asleep and it's boiling.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to, like, get to that boiling point before we're like, oh, holy shit, this is not good.
It's
We
the
gotta get the heck out of
analogy
here.
of, you have a boiling pot and you throw the frog in, it jumps right out
Right.
because it's hot. But if you put it in warm water and you start turning it up little by little, the frog is like, yeah, this is great, but you've now boiled the frog.
Yeah.
Didn't
Yeah.
even know.
Exactly.
Which it's kind of like I'm listening to my sister, and what's kind of coming through to me, and I know that you're breaking out of this idea of having this grandiose, like, job. This, I think, is what you're discounting. This is grandiose. You learning this. I would imagine all of us here on this call, like, do we not understand that understanding this is grandiose?
Yeah.
Like, this is a whole, the knowledge and wisdom that
grandeur. I
we're
think you mean
getting
grandeur.
from this
You mean
book.
grandeur?
Yeah.
Do you mean
Well, no, I'm saying it in terms of you, like, with your job, like, you not being able to have this job, you have that idea of, like, I need to have this, like, grandiose thing of work, which I understand, and you're breaking out of that pattern. I think this is like, this is that big thing that maybe I'm not saying you're discounting it, maybe you just don't see it. The whole time you're spending in this book is that huge thing. The knowledge that you're able to pull from this, I'd imagine for all of us here,
Yeah.
is in this book.
Yeah.
So to piggyback on that, it's like, I think Mother Teresa said this. It's like, we all can't do these these great things, but we can all do small things with great love.
Yeah.
And I think that's my role in life. I'm not doing these huge, grandiose things, but on a daily basis, I do a lot of little small things that affect the people that are in my orbit. So, you know, I think that for my sister, coming to uh really not have that idea of like I have to be doing this to tie to my self-worth, and being able to like break out of that is such monumental growth, because it's thought patterns and old patterns that we're just going to continue to go if we didn't have this.
Oh yeah.
So I think this work that we're all doing, Kathleen, my mother, my sister, all of us,
Yeah.
it all starts here. This is the legs of us. It's the foundation of us. Everything emanates from this.
Yeah. The more we learn how to live the course, the more it affects every single area of our life, so that it
Yes.
becomes like the most influential, important thing that we do is understanding and living the truth of this book.
That's it. I mean, the words of probably one of the most powerful people that walk the earth.
Yeah.
We're
But
getting
it
his
does
direct
say
words.
that, this is A Course in Miracles. It's not the only path, but it is the fastest.
Yeah, yeah.
So for somebody like,
Yes.
somebody that likes to be an achiever, want to
Yeah.
go to the fastest path. Why
This
not?
is it, man. You're shrinking that time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely, like I said, post my father's passing, I got a much clearer sense of like, if I think about how do I define success in this life? Now, for me, it's to have the growth that I need to have. Like now that I understand that's the purpose of this experience, now I'm like, okay, well, how can I do that the fastest? And if I was working an 8 to 5 job and consumed with that 50 hours a week, then I wouldn't have the same time to do all of this. And
Right.
I'm fully aware of that. And I love the whole like sharing the benefits part of prayer that we always say, because then I always share the benefits specifically with my husband, because I can do this because he's up there right now on calls for 9 hours a day doing what he does to pay our bills. And so, or other people in my family, like that I get to be the conduit of this and then share it. And because not everybody, and I've had that thought too, like maybe this is how we connected very young in life, and it was a very powerful, I just knew in my being I really had zero desire to get married, like zero. And then I met him, and so I've often thought that I wonder, and his career has just worked for him, like without, I mean, he works very hard and he's very good, but without a lot of plotting and planning like I do. And I thought maybe that was part of our connection, that was so that he would do that and I would do this work. And there's been I do feel that I'm a part of a lot of even generational healing in my family, a lot of things in my family. And, and so I always share the benefits specifically with him because, that's how I have the time to do it.
Yeah. Thank you both. Carol and then Kathleen, because you both had your hands raised for a minute.
Hello, everybody. I'm
Hi.
so happy to be here. The most central idea that I have received from this section is exactly what the course is about, and it's the undoing. We are being undone
Yeah.
in the things that we've created, the ideas and beliefs from our pasts, from our experiences,
Yeah.
from our associations. We've created what is not true. And
Yeah.
that grandiosity is an example of it. Now it is being undone. Everything, little by little by little by little, all of our beliefs, all of our creations, that's a Dylan word in one of his songs, God is undoing.
Mhm.
We are undoing the belief systems that functioned in our lives without us even oftentimes knowing that that's what was happening. We were building elusive things that weren't true, didn't exist,
Yeah.
but it was the world. And even churches teach that you really, you're filthy rags. You're not really great beings here. And, really you're nothing. And we bought into it and
Yeah.
we lived it and we created families and relationships. And here now, all of this tells us that is not true. You
Mhm.
are much more than that. In so many different ways, we are built up to the truth of who we are
Yeah.
and the reality that, yes, you live in grandeur. Your life is filled with this wonderful truth because it's God. And you can't put God in a little box and say, this is God. You need to understand the bigness of the effect the Holy Spirit has on us. And in all of these ways, it's an undoing. I wanted well, Dana upstaged me. She read what I wanted to read. So, and that's fine.
Great minds think alike.
In the 11 and 12. But also, I'll read parts of 9 because I think they're all wonderful.
Yeah.
God wants you to behold what he created because it is his joy. Can your grandeur be arrogant when God himself witnesses to it? And what can be real that has no witnesses? What good can come of it? And if no good can come of it, the Holy Spirit cannot use it. What he cannot transform to the will of God does not exist at all. Grandiosity is delusional because it is used to replace your grandeur. Yet what God has created cannot be replaced. God, here's the part I love. God is incomplete without you, simply because his grandeur is total and you cannot be missing from it. It's like that picture. If God's the ocean and we're droplets in the ocean, God cannot exist without us,
Yeah.
period. We are that important and that necessary. No one else, it says, you're altogether irreplaceable in the mind of God. Boy, when you take that stuff seriously, holy Hannah, that's powerful. It's just powerful. No one else can fill your part of it. And while you leave your part of it empty, your eternal place merely waits for your return. God, through his voice, reminds you of it, and God himself keeps your extensions safe within it. But you do not know them until you return to them. You cannot replace the kingdom, and you cannot replace yourself. God, who knows your value, would not have it so, and so it is not so. Your value is in God's mind, and therefore not in you alone. To accept yourself as he created you cannot be arrogant, because it is the denial of arrogance, because God is not arrogant. I love it. I mean, it's just so affirming and so positive. And so, I mean, just, man, you doubt yourself, go read this section over and over and over when you think you're so little and meaningless and you're not contributing to life and to society or whatever it is. Man, read this section because it is just so chock full of love and blessing and support. It's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Carol. Good to have you here.
Good to be here.
Yeah. Kathleen.
Oh, I was just listening to Robert Perry. His talk is right before this one. And this month is on, who are we? How do we establish our identity? It's so good. I would definitely recommend joining that. It's $20 a month and listening to him talk. One thing he was talking about was Jesus's conversation with Bill, where Bill is afraid to teach because Bill is aware that if people praised him, he would feel lonely because now sees himself up on a
Mhm.
pedestal and everyone else is below him. Or if people put him down, if his students didn't like him, then he would get depressed. So he had this big fear of teaching because he knew he was either going to go up there or down there based on what his students said.
Yeah.
So the advice is to not give any credence to whether people are praising you or not praising you. So that was, I just thought that might be helpful, that we put it out there, that we base our feelings about ourselves on if we're teachers, whether our students like us or not, or,
Right.
you know, our patients, if we treat patients or whatever. So I don't know, that felt like it was applicable. I know it's probably in one of the cameos back there. But for
Kathleen,
Bill,
could you explain who Bill is? Because I don't think Danny recognizes the name. Bill. Who's Bill?
well, he's one of the people that helped Helen and
Bill
well,
Thetford,
oh
right?
he's the reason
That's all I wanted you to say.
what did you want me to say?
That's all I wanted you to explain. He and Helen
Yeah,
basically produced the course, the original course.
right. They used to fight a lot and they were faculty members.
Yeah, I explained that to
Whatever.
Danny. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Kathleen. Yeah, just taking in everything that y'all said. I'm just feeling like the when Jesus was having that conversation with Bill, and it was right at that moment that Bill was feeling his littleness and also feeling like I received my worth from doing things for people, like Dana receives her worth from achieving stuff. Like we all have those kinds of things. Like we're all just living in that space of littleness until we get it, and then we're like, oh, you know. So at that moment, I can imagine, you know, thinking about when I first started reading the course, how, you know, first of all, I like couldn't understand what I was reading because I couldn't get the iambic pentameter for some reason. And I could feel, like physically feel, that it was the truth, but it was beyond my brain's comprehension, kind of thing. So I'm so grateful that whatever that fog that made it so that I couldn't understand it lifted. I think a big part of it was when I read Disappearance of the Universe, which I still don't exactly know the correlation between that book and this book, but I just know that it made it easier. Like I read that book and then this book was like, oh, that's what that says, you know? So I do encourage people, anybody that says that they have a hard time reading a course, to read Disappearance of the Universe, even though it felt like science fiction when I was reading it, felt like crazy town. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that we all have kind of it's yeah, kind of what you're kind of alluding to, Linda. So everybody has like some kind of
Mm-hmm.
insecurity from when we
Yeah.
were young. It usually starts when we're in our formative years, and it just kind of carries on through life until at some point in your life. And some people don't come to this awareness, and it's not that they're any better or worse, it's just they don't. But you come to it and just say, hey, like, do I believe what I was taught, that you know, do I believe in this because I was taught it? And then you start to go inside and
Yes.
you go internally and say to yourself, like, you know, uh, I, I I think this about me. Is that really true? So like my sister's is in achievements. She was
Yeah.
putting her worth in achievements. My insecurities when I was younger relate to number 8 in this, which is it is easy to distinguish grandeur from grandiosity simply because love is returned and pride is not. And what I wrote there is confidence versus cockiness. One is cockiness, one's confidence.
Yeah.
And in my early years, and my sister will be a very, she'll agree 1,000% on this. I was not a great guy to be around because I was protruding cockiness because of an insecurity that I had within myself.
Yeah.
And it just went out that way. And then I had some things happen in life that literally brought me down to a base level. And then I got built back up, but built back up on the internal, not off of what somebody else thought of me, which is externally, which is really like the trichotomy of control, which is
Yeah.
there's things you have zero control over, which is what somebody thinks of you, the weather, somebody hits you in your car. You don't have any control over that. So I don't put any little to no thought into that in a given day because I can't control it. Then there are things you have some control over, but not all, which is like a sports game or I don't know if I go on a listing appointment and I don't get it. I have some influence over that, but not all. So in that instance, I don't put a lot of energy into that. But then there's things you have full 100% control over. And what are those? It's everything internal.
Yeah.
Your response time, what you think, what you say, what you eat, what time you go to bed, what you feed your mind with. Those are all internal things you can control. That's where I want to spend 100% of my time because
Yeah.
I can control those things. And those are usually all things inside your heart that like that crystal center behind your heart that is the essence of who we are. Like that's what we can control. So I try to spend most of my time there. But that didn't come till I had these awakenings years ago to where now I questioned everything that I was taught and said, no, that's not really me. Let me figure out who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And that's taken time to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, but we all start that way with
Yeah.
some kind of insecurity or some kind of fault or less than or what do we call it in this chapter? Like grandiosity. We
Yeah.
all have something like that that is in our lives. It's just a matter of are you aware of it? And if you are, what do you want to do about it?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody on this call is very grateful that I'm going to assume you are, that we know we have these insecurities and now we've put them out on the table so we can move past them so they don't carry with us to the next time we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm for decades, for as long as I can remember, I have always been able to perceive people who walk around like boasting or being big and loud and obnoxious.
Yeah.
Like they have some major insecurities. There's some shit going on behind the scenes that we don't know. They're a hurting little kid somewhere inside, and I feel like that's part of why the codependent pattern was like went on for so long in my life, because I could see where people were hurting. I could feel where people were hurting, and I wanted to help them. Right? That was my grandiosity instead of my grandeur. My grandeur knows if you come to me for help, yes, I am willing to help you, but I know full well that you have everything within you to heal whatever needs to be healed. I am doing nothing but holding space for you and, taking your hand to calm your nerves and remind you that you have everything you need right now, right here. When we're born, we know that we have that. And then we come into the world and we're vulnerable because we need our parents to do things for us. And so then we try and do whatever we can to, create that safety for ourselves and do things that will make them love us more. And then, society goes on to strengthen that you need something outside of you in
Mhm.
order to be complete and whole and happy and wealthy and healthy and wise. You need this church, you need this amount of money, you need these drugs, you know, like you need all these things outside of you. We don't need any of that. You know, the physical body obviously needs things, but we don't need any of that to be whole and complete. We are already whole and complete already. And we forget.
Yeah.
So we just need somebody to go
Yeah. And
snap out of it.
I think if how do I say this? If you agree to that, or are like wherever level you are, like what Jesus said, like just some people are farther down. I was just farther down the road than you guys
Yeah.
are. So I'm able to do these things, but I'm showing you that you can do these things. It's not anything that he said it, I'm just the same as you.
Yeah.
I've just been here many more times.
Yeah.
So if we come into this planet, but before we get here, we agree that, hey, this person's going to mentor you at some point to help you move past where you ended, maybe the last time you were here, and now they can take you to the next
Yeah.
rung up the ladder. Though, I mean, I was grateful to have that in multiple people.
Yeah.
But some people don't because they're just
Right.
not there. And that's okay too.
Yeah. And that's why we surround ourselves, you know, by being born into families where we get to learn and grow
Yeah.
out of patterns that we had before, or, you know, or just to experience it, just to play. Gee, I wonder what it would be like to be a codependent person. You know, I wonder what it would be like to give and give and give until you resent everybody around you and think they're all assholes, you know, and worthless, that don't do anything except for rely on you for everything. You know, yeah, I didn't really get to that point, but you know, you could if you
Mhm.
wanted to.
Sure.
If you really wanted to play it all the way through to the end. So yeah, I mean, and I can see, like, since Rudy's passed, I can see so many ways where we definitely had a contract that we were going to come into this life and we were going to get together, and this is how our relationship was going to go. And these were the things that we were going to learn and grow through this relationship.
Mhm.
So, I'm more and more, like Carol was saying, I think before we even started, it's all good. I'm more and more in that space where no matter who I come across or what happens, this is exactly what was supposed to happen. This is exactly the experience I was supposed to have. These are exactly the words I was supposed to say, where I was supposed to be, what I was supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
It's not always comfortable, but I feel like, I wouldn't be here in this space if it wasn't where I was supposed to be. And I don't have that sense anymore of getting to the end. Like, this is going to be healed once and for all. Because I know, okay, I feel like I have really healed this codependency thing, like it's way more healed than it's ever been in my life. And I also know, I could fall back into some form of it that I'm like some kind of stealth ninja version of it that I'm not even aware of at this moment.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, who knows? Who knows?
Short-term pain for long-term gain is
Yeah.
usually how we experience life as humans.
Yeah.
When these
And
things
getting to,
happen to us, we just are like, I can't believe this. This
right.
just happened. Like we go, it's just like the world's ending. But you know that like in the long run, there's a reason behind it. You just have to have that response
Yeah.
ability, the ability to respond,
Yeah.
not react right off the gate. So this happens, oh my God. And then you just react. There's no thought that comes with the reaction. That beat of well, that's a passing is that's another level of having a responsibility, because it's I know there's no like there's no scale of happenings in like with God,
Yeah.
like everything is the same. But I don't know. As humans, I think that a passing is a huge thing, as opposed to me stubbing my toe.
It feels like that at times, but for the most part, it's not. It's not. If I had a stub toe, if somebody died, if somebody gets a cancer diagnosis, like it's all the same. It's all like we signed up for this experience. It's all the same. And as long as I am comparing my experience to somebody else's experience, then I'm not gleaning the learning from it. I'm not getting the benefits from it, because I'm walking around going, oh, well, this is like the worst thing that could happen to somebody. Okay, maybe something worse could happen, like if somebody had a child that passed away. But even that, I still have to look at through the lens of Christ's love and say that it's still just an experience.
Yeah.
Because
well,
otherwise I'm walking around in a victim mode.
I notice a lot of, people do it a lot. Like they'll say they'll diminish their own experience by saying, well, hey, at least I'm not, poor in some other country or
Right.
continent. Like it's like that diminishes the experience that you're having. Like
Yeah.
experience, like don't compare it to somebody who's doing maybe what you could perceive as less than you. Your
Yeah.
experience is still your experience.
Right.
I hear people do that a lot, and I don't like to buy into that. Like yours
Yeah.
is yours. Feel what you're feeling. Like go through it.
Yeah.
That's why you're here.
Well, and everybody's experience is magnetized differently because of who they are and what they come in. You know what I mean? Like so on the codependency thing, like that's never been an issue for me. Not once. It's just how I came into this
Yeah.
world. And in my chart, like I have a lot of power in the relationship area of my chart. So I've never felt the need to do that. My mom's different. You're different, Linda. So the experiences that that would be like that are going to magnetize differently for you than they will for me.
Yeah.
My whole life was fine, like choosing to raise her family over having a career. She didn't spend years of her life berating herself for that decision like I did. Like so, so whatever experience it is, it's going to magnetize for you differently. So to say
Mhm.
someone else, that person who's living poor in that country, they can be happy as shit. Like you don't know because you're
You're
not
right.
them. So, you can imagine that being really hard and horrible, but maybe they're happy as all get out.
Yeah.
You
Right.
don't know. So every
Yeah.
experience magnetizes for us differently because of who we are and what we're here to do and what work we're here to do. So the sense of, and the thing about the course is like it speaks in very universal language. So the littleness that this chapter talks about looks differently for all five. It looks five different ways for the five of us on this call. And like times a gazillion in our lives. Like there's many places in my life that there's littleness. I mean, less than there used to be, and that's the goal as we go on, right? But this idea of like what that looks like for me is different than what that looks like for everybody else. But we're all working to like, that's the journey, right? That's the whole purpose, is to heal as much as we can of that. Like, yes, Linda, is it ever going to be completely healed? I don't know. Is it going to be that? Because I think like these are these sharp edges. I call them like sharp edges. There's sharp edges that we come in with. And can we get them down pretty smoothly? Yeah. Will they always maybe be something that kind of like, ooh, nudges you because it's just part of what you came in to learn? Maybe. And maybe you can, although there are things that I've healed in my life that really aren't a big thing, like anymore. And so it doesn't, as Jennifer talks about them as splinters in the mind, right? Like they're not splinters in my mind anymore. I can look at it and recognize, wow, me 20 years ago, that would have sent me off a tailspin for a day or two. like I had been reeling on that for 2 days. But me today, no, I'm good. So, I didn't see over, but like, I just say that to say, yes, there's multiple, that's what we're here to do, is just to,
Yeah.
my brother's comment is just to keep healing the littleness. Some of those little things are big edges, right? Like this one for me. Oh, sorry. Oh gosh, the wind just like whipped and I feel like something blew over. I don't know. I was like, what was that? And so, I think we all have that as far as like, but I think there are some things that are bigger in our lives than others. For me, this is a big one. Like this is a big one. I've had other things that are, significant, but not quite as big. But this is one of the big ones for me that's just always been there. So yeah, like I think that is the whole goal. Like, is it ever, will I have something else that comes up in my awareness that I didn't see before when I'm kind of like, not done, but like, have moved through this one? Sure. And I hope there always is. Like, that's how you get to where you're going to go, and expedite that with the course. Like, like the course has said, like it, I don't want to take 5 lifetimes to learn one lesson, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I think if you want to keep coming back, yes, like you'll learn that, and then you'll keep learning, so you don't have to deal with these. And then if you do want to come back, you've already dealt with all of that. So now you're on, you've moved up like, I don't know, a rung on the ladder. So the next time you come, that stuff that's you're not gonna deal with codependency anymore, or my achievements. That's gone. Now the next part of your life is going to be this. If you come back as, whatever you come as, it'll be
Yeah.
these things. That's at least how I see it
Yeah.
from what
I feel
I'm
it's
reading.
like that too. It's like this is an amusement park.
School, I call it
Riding
school, but
this
yeah.
one ride. And when we're done riding this ride, we get to go on a different ride. If we stayed on the same ride for days, oh my God, that would be so
Yes.
boring after a while.
I always equate it to school. Like our lives are like school. Like Jesus is like has a million doctorates. He's done. Like he's there. I may be in like 6th grade, or 7th grade. But once you learn what you learn, now the next time I come, I'm going to go from 7th to 8th, and maybe I go and I'm done at 9th grade. But then you realize, and you see people out in the world that maybe even are friends of yours. You're like, they just like, and no judgment. They're probably still in like preschool. Like they just aren't getting. If we started speaking to them about this, it'd be like we were speaking Chinese to them.
Yeah.
And that's
how I
fine. They're
was
just
reading it.
not
Yeah.
along the path that we are.
Yeah. And that's how I was reading it when I first started reading it. It's wrong.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. All right. I got a call at 1, but this was awesome.
Okay.
Great class today. Appreciate you
guys.
all very much. This was great.
Thanks, Daniel.
You bet.
Anybody have anything else they'd like to share before we close our session today? And thank you all for being here. And I'm going to read, next week, we begin chapter 10. Woo-hoo. Chapter 10, the religion of the ego. That should be interesting. Walking to the eternal. And come on. I'm just going to read our lesson for today. Lesson 315. All gifts my brothers give belong to me. Each day 1,000 treasures come to me with every passing moment. I am blessed with gifts throughout the day, in value far beyond all things of which I can conceive. A brother smiles upon another, and my heart is gladdened. Someone speaks a word of gratitude or mercy, and my mind receives this gift and takes it as its own. And everyone who finds the way to God becomes my savior, pointing out the way to me and giving me his certainty that what he learned is surely mine as well. I thank you, Father, for the many gifts that come to me today and every day from every son of God. My brothers are unlimited in all their gifts to me. Now may I offer them my thankfulness, that gratitude to them may lead me on to my Creator and his memory. May it be so. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week.
Bye.
Love yous.
Bye, thank you, Linda.
Bye.